Art School 004. Art School 4. There's a few considerations upon becoming an artist. First, though you may make money at it and do quite well, the chances are that you will not do well at all financially. The odds are against you, okay? Your contribution to civilization has to be more considered a sort of donation, kind of like we gave at the office, we gave at the studio. Well then, what do you get in return? What do you get in return? Are you kidding me, man? Immunity. Immunity from the world's incredible financial dilemmas. Independence. Independence from the oppressive employment system of the establishments that tend to erupt from the stilted economic opinions of the public at large. Legitimacy. After all, being an artist is not only work, it's hard work. Self-employment. You'll be your own boss. That's right, self-employment. You're your own boss. You will gain legitimate intellectual stature. The profession of artist is the highest endeavor man is capable of. Once you have mastered your own unique techniques, you will have begun the process there. You will have also become a legitimate authority in your own right. Oh, and there's a lot more that I can't think of right now off the top of my head, but I think that's enough of an incentive right there. You know, as far as the financial thing goes, guess what? As I've already said, the money is worthless. The financial system could collapse, but you still have your accomplished artwork in storage and your talent and skills ready. Even if the money's no good, you can still barter your work. Because you are a legitimate artist, that gives you the status of not only an entrepreneur, but also makes you your own charity of sorts if you are in duress or hardship. This allows you to gain permission to solicit the businesses in your area for donations of such things as food, clothing, and equipment, as well as other things like a workspace. It is possible to operate completely outside the economic strata of a community as long as they tolerate you. That is to say that those in the community prone to gossip don't launch a vendetta against you the way Arles did to Vincent van Gogh. But then it's a wide world. As Woody Guthrie wrote in one of his many songs, I come with the dust and I'm gone with the wind. You can usually get there one way or another. And you can usually get by for at least 3 years in a place until the natives get riled up, and then go ahead, look around for a place more deserving of your gifts. The principal thing is that if you think of money instead of thinking around it, it will bastardize your work, and it will become nothing more than commercial art. Dull, lifeless, clever maybe, but lacking in vitality, a mere shadow of what art should be. You must develop a thick skin to laugh at the mindset that tends to form against you. These are cowards who never did anything momentous or creative, and they must try to destroy you because you, by just your being, cast them in a bad light. That's a funny little side effect art gives you. The ability to get past financial limitations. It's a part of the enrichment you get from the intellectual stimulation and growth, active participation in the creative process of doing artwork gives you. Get your copy on that one, buddy. Okay. It's a part of the enrichment you get from the intellectual stimulation and growth, active participation in the creative process of doing artwork gives you. Okay? Second, that's the first. Second, you have some overcomable fears to overcome, such as confronting doubts as to your ability. And then there's the sleep deprivation. You mightn't have the self-discipline some do and just want to keep working until you finish the work, or at least a certain stage of it. I scared myself silly one year when I found myself working on the same painting for 7 months. Talk about sleep debt. Okay, face your work bravely and do something with it. If it isn't everything you intended it to be, there's always the next work of art. Everything makes a statement. If to no one else, then to you. And if you go ahead and finish that piece, it can teach you more when you study it later. I used to hang up my work so I could look at it and learn something from the results. There were those in art school that started something and then scraped it all off the canvas with a palette knife. They never got anywhere. Of course, if that's you, then you must consider if art is really your bag, as we used to put it in the 60s. Third, now, there's craftsmanship. Any work of art is worth doing well. And that means from the ground up. So you might as well resign yourself from the get-go that you're going to have to hassle the appropriate steps necessary to prepare for the type of work you're going to do. If it's a drawing, paper is important, acid-free, decent tooth, to grip the medium and so on. You know, if it's an oil painting, the best possible paint on a suitably sized ground. If you're poor, you can make your own oil paint. It's not that big a deal. If you paint on canvas, oil paint rots canvas in a decade or less. So you have to coat the canvas with something to keep it isolated from the film of oil paint. These are just examples. The point is, you've got to do it right. If you sell, your integrity is at stake. It's part of a good product. If you don't sell, you might years later, and you're in trouble if the work falls off the canvas and you have nothing left for your trouble. Furthermore, there are other things such as health issues. Most of the beautiful colors you will handle are toxic in some way. You have to get used to handling them the right way, keeping clean. Also, there's the solvents you'll have to use, most commonly turpentine. You can develop an intolerance to it through repeated exposure to the skin. You'll be shocked when you develop an allergy to turpentine, or as I say, turpentine saves 9. In my case, it was in the form of turp-induced eczema in my hand, where I used to twirl my turped brushes to clean them. In the case of Deal, my artist roommate in my Oakland, California studio in 1969, his face swelled up. As he put it, he began to look like Quasimodo, the actor from the early 20th century who played the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Notre Dame. Also, servants. Yeah, servants, man, that'd be great. They want to work without a salary. That's cool. No, that's all right. Solvents. Also, solvents need ventilation. All right. Remember, sol and vent should go together. Otherwise, don't get into art. I'd rather you be alive, idiot, than a dead one. The part of your lungs that pass the oxygen to the blood cells is made of very delicate stuff, and they'll dissolve very quickly, which is also why people should not try to siphon gasoline, by the way. There are other things we'll cover later, I hope. I haven't been able to do that now for years. So, if you need to continue your research, please do so. You may have to find a lot of these things out for yourself as you go. That is all for now.